Hello everybody and welcome to the 10th episode of Nostalgia Bait. I'm your wonderful host this week, Cooper Britton, and I am joined by my beautiful co-host with his lovely Tom Ford glasses, George Sheard. Say hello, George.
I'll take them off, you fucker. Thank you. Welcome, hello. Welcome to Nostalgia Bait, everyone. I'm here.
Welcome to Double Digits Nostalgia Bait. It's episode 10.
We did it.
We are still here.
Believe it or not, we made it.
Believe it or not, we made it. We made it to episode 10.
We did.
We have something slightly special planned for episode 10.
I'd say slightly special. Yeah.
And that's not talking about us. And we
Brilliant start. This is fucking right. This is going to be a really giggly, weird episode. We spent the last basically.
Yeah, we spent the last So this episode, where we spoke about it a few times on the podcast, we're going to be kind of reviewing and talking over some of the old skits that we used to do for George's channel.
Yeah.
It's a very I feel like an integral part of our friendship and us growing up together and stuff like that. And yeah, we have some funny stories. So basically, the reason why we're just laughing and can't keep a straight face and can't keep a sentence together is the last 45 minutes we've basically just been rewatching them and reminiscing on the past. Cringe. Well, I did cringe as well, but we've been saving any comments for the podcast. But we've just been laughing at our younger selves and how stupid we were and how and how George couldn't edit properly and I couldn't hold a camera properly. So. Yeah.
See, one of those is true.
No, I saw it. I mean, there's some of them where I could not hold a camera properly. Some of the older ones.
I mean, yeah. It's so for those who might have followed my channel for a while. If you haven't, then sucks to be you. You'll get a lot of new stuff today. But for those who've been around a while, might remember way back when, more likely like 2018, 2017. There were a few reviews that we did. We'll talk about them today, and we did reviews of them and. We did little skits for these review videos, and we filmed these skits, and there was sort of a mix of ideas. It was just us two doing it. Cooper was behind the camera, basically directing everything and keeping it all together, and I was fumbling around in front of the camera wearing charity shop clothes, doing bad impressions. So that's.
I mean, some of the impressions were okay. Some of
we
the
were talking
were
about
good.
that. We were talking about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, not all of them were terrible, but some of them were pretty bad.
It's it's like I said, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? It's like you love them, but when you look back, you're like, "Ooh, that's not as good as I remember it," like that kind of thing.
It's sort of like in my head, it was a really good Matt Smith impression, but in reality, it sounded like I had a really bad lisp, and I just don't remember it.
Yeah.
I don't remember it sounding like that, to be honest.
It's some of the reviews that we did to go over them. Yeah. Let's talk about the reviews that we did. So we did. What was the first one that we did? Because I think we.
So in terms of
it's
Star
Star
release,
Wars.
It was Star Wars, but we talking about release, or we talking about filming?
I think filming will do. I think do order of filming because I guess you can talk about progression in that way.
Yeah, I guess let's talk about. We'll run down now kind of what all the episodes are, and then I guess we'll just talk about each one at a time. So the review skits that we filmed were for Star Wars Force Awakens, and then Star Wars The Last Jedi.
Yeah,
and then it was. Day of the Doctor, you're right.
Yeah.
The Doctor Who 50th anniversary special. And then Westworld Season 2.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure you're all big fans of.
Yeah.
As we can tell by the retention from that episode. Fuck you guys. No, anyway.
Oh my god, this is chaos.
And then
it was Woman Who Fell to Earth.
The Woman Who Fell to Earth, which was a
then
Doctor Who episode. And then
there's the Marvel.
There is the Marvel one, which never got edited.
Never saw the light of day.
But it might well see the light of day very soon.
Oh
no, it won't. But you might see screenshots from
promotional
that very
images,
soon, when we promote for next week's episode.
That's true. Yeah, I thought you were talking about for this week's episode. No, for next week's episode.
I'm not. I'm being mysterious, and I'm being very mysterious and hinty. And look, everything's planned. Everything's coming together, just like Marvel phases 1 to 3.
That's true. Yeah. Anyway, so we'll go through them in order, kind of give a discussion of a general breakdown. Some of them, if you search for them, you can still find them on George's channel. Can you find it? Yeah, you did.
No, you can't.
None of them.
No, you can find the Doctor Who ones.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like the Doctor Who ones you can find.
You know what? If you look hard enough, you might be able to find the other ones. They're all unlisted. It's whether they're in playlists or not. If they are, then you'll be able to find them. If they're not, then they are gone forever. And I really hope they're gone forever. We can see them. We can still see them.
Yeah, we can we just watch them, but we'll go through them in order. If you want to go and watch any of them, some like the Doctor Who ones, the Doctor Who ones are the longest ones, and they're probably the one we put the most effort into. So they're the ones worth watching. And then eventually they might see the light of day once again. So
you never know.
So let's start with Force Awakens and Last Jedi and kind of go through.
I mean, Force Awakens, we can kind of run through quickly. That was the kind of first one we did, wasn't it? So we did it as
Actually, before we go to Force Awakens, should we talk about the original skit that we did? The original one, the advert, which was technically the first one I ever did, like the first thing I ever did for you.
I think we might have talked about this in episode 1 way back when, but as a refresher, I had my media GCSE. You're probably right, actually, because that would have been my GCSE year.
It is the first one, yeah.
I would have.
You probably approached me.
I definitely.
I seem to remember.
So my side of it is very different. So obviously, I had my media GCSE, and one of the final projects for that media GCSE was to make an advert for something, film an advert. And I had a few inspirations, none of which you could tell in the actual video. But the one we wanted to do, it was sort of a bit like the Old Spice commercial, where it's like, look at your man, now back to me, now back at your man, now back to me, I'm on a horse. That shit. Like, I wanted to do something like that, but
Organised chaos.
Yeah,
is what
exactly.
The advert, yeah.
But I wanted to do it like advertising. What was I going to advertise? Well, to kill two birds with one stone, 16-year-old George thought. Advertise my Ace Creeper store, my YouTube channel store, as well as making a GCSE media advert, right? I can't believe that I got an A star in media with the main project being a fucking advert for my YouTube channel merchandise store.
Do you know what?
Incredible.
Do you know why? Because the advert was actually it was funny. It was
funny.
It was well written. It was we
did a good job
with
it, but I filmed a version of it without you.
Yeah. Did you?
Yeah.
Betrayal.
I
did. Betrayal on the
I made one with someone I'm not going to mention because obviously I can't remember who it is, and I do remember who it is, but I don't want to sort of just drag them down. I can't remember why I didn't use it. I don't think it was bad. I actually, weirdly, Cooper, you might not like this, but weirdly, I have more memories filming the first one than I do the one that we made. Simply because the one that we made was in my house, and the amount of projects we filmed in our house, it sort of gets modelled up. Whereas the one I filmed first, that I never used or edited, was in school, in a room in school. And it was good, but it had I think it had a very different premise.
Yeah.
I think it was like in a classroom or something, and maybe I pulled my fucking t-shirt open like Superman, and I had like the Ace Creeper merch underneath or something. I don't know. I was crazy in that time. But then
I'd like to officially announce this as the last episode of Nostalgia Bait after Betrayal the Jedi.
And then we filmed that. It was just like
I didn't know. I actually didn't know there was an original version. I don't think
I've ever seen it. I can't even remember. Well, I was in it, but I can't remember doing it. Mm-hmm. You know, I can remember doing it, but I can't remember. Like, it's a sort of it's a blur. I can't remember why we didn't use it. But there must have been a point where I turned around and I was like, right, Cooper. Mm-hmm. I don't know what, but like, no offense, but I didn't know what, because that was the first thing we did, right? So why did I come to you to go, let's film this? Because we also had like couple like school years between, a couple of academic years between us, about a year and a half age difference. Yeah,
so you were two academic years above me,
right? Yeah.
So when you were sixth form, I was year 9. When you were GCSE, I was year 9.
Right, hang on, I was going to say, be very
School
careful.
Year 9. Yeah. So when you were 16, I was 14. Essentially, that's the age, kind of the minor age gap between us.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I genuinely, because obviously we did film club, so I assume that's the reason you approached me for it.
Probably. Well, our film club's a whole other episode, so we'll not delve into that. Thing, but we did a little club in like when you started in year 7. I did it from a bit early before you started, and then I think we got to know each other quite a lot more through that and Scouts.
Yeah.
So that was kind of alongside it, and then I think. Yeah, it probably was that, because I think I did the first one with someone else who was in film club, who again, I'm just not going to name names because it's just not fair. But I think I did it with them, and then something about it wasn't right or whatever. I wasn't happy with it, and I wanted to redo it or something like that. Mm-hmm. So then I was like, right, I think I probably approached you and was like, you could help me with this. We've got a similar sense of humour. Well, I think probably what it was is we probably walked home together, and I mentioned it, and you were like, I'll do it. That's probably what it was. And then we did it, and it was solid. What do you remember from that filming?
So I remember it being like, so it's in your bedroom at your home house.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
and it was just a one take. You walking towards camera with me backing up, and you just essentially cracking a load of jokes, I remember you dropped a mug at one point. We did like the thing where you pass the drink, take a drink, drop the mug, like that kind of thing.
Drop the mug and it smashes off camera, but it actually just lands on a cushion.
Yeah, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't remember too much from it. I seem to remember it not taking very long.
No, it
I also, it looked good. To be fair, I'd probably rewatch it now. It's been quite a while, but I remember it looking good when we finished it, and I remember I really enjoyed doing it. So, and it clearly showed. Yeah.
You know what I remember from it?
What?
I remember creating a meme, and no one believes
me.
I remember creating a meme, and no one fucking believes me. The jealousy meme, the one with the guy turning around, he's holding hands with his wife or his missus or whatever, and he turns around and he's looking at someone else's ass, right? That is just a random stock image, right? That's been everywhere. Everyone's used that in memes. It's one of the biggest memes. Everyone knows that one, right? Now, when is the first time you've ever seen that meme used? Go back, have a look at it, whatever, right? Because when we were editing this fucking advert thing, we went on a stock image website. I typed in...
like I did it.
You were there, no?
When you did it. No, I wasn't there for the edit. I remember...
I'm sure you were there for the thing.
I remember you telling me... So, what I remember from this story is...
I really remember you being there for it.
I could have been. It could be. I'll let you finish your stock image bit, and then I'll tell you what I remember from the stock image part.
I searched jealousy, and I found this image. It had a Shutterstock image over it, but it was the same image, that meme image. And I was like, that's a funny image. I'm going to put that in my Media Ace Creeper store advert. I did. I edited it in. And then about half a year later, it was like this massive meme. And I'm like, fucking... bullshit, man. Some media examiner saw that and was like, I know, that's like funny. The Sidemen, and I'm gonna give it to them. I don't know, but I did look this up. I did look this up, and it turns out I didn't actually invent it, but I might have done. So there's still a little bit. There's still you keep me on your toes. Yeah, you're excited. The audience are excited.
I just remember I didn't know of it beforehand. Like. It's like I don't think you would have used it if it was known beforehand. Because I remember you telling me, because in the edit you point to something or something comes on, or you said something's going to come on screen now, and I remember the line was this will be you like when you wear Ace Creeper merch or something like that.
Yeah, it's like if you wear Ace Creeper merch, other people will be jealous. Like this guy.
Yeah,
that was it.
Yeah. And I remember you telling me, being like, oh yeah, I'm going to use a stock image, and then like in the report thing that you have to do for the media project, I'm going to like write why I use a stock image and why I kept the stock image logo on, because it makes it funnier, like that kind of thing. Yeah,
so it got used February 23rd, 2017, so that was before we did the advert, right? By some Instagram user who just did like a tag your friend thing.
Yeah. This is crazy.
On August 21st, a Redditor put a captioned version up, right? The Ace Creeper store advert was uploaded on the 23rd of March 2017.
There you go.
So it wasn't first, but it was
you're close.
Very close. At least it was the first version. Well, it wasn't, but it was close to that. Yeah.
And at least you used the actual stock image version. Like every version online now doesn't have the stock image on. Someone paid for it and then just spread it everywhere. So
yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, that was the first proper time when I picked up a camera and did stuff for you.
Yeah.
And then I don't know how long after it was. It probably couldn't have been long that we did Force Awakens and Last Jedi.
Yeah, this is where I had to get my research now. So let's have a look at this. You keep talking, I'll have a look.
I think the idea came to mind because we went to see Last Jedi together when it first came out, and I think the idea came because the trailers had come out, and you were like, I could do a review for it on YouTube, and then we decided that we were going to do it.
It's about
similar.
About a year, maybe. Hang on.
Yeah, maybe.
Last Jedi.
Maybe we just wanted to pick up a lightsaber, to be honest, and be cool. So which is a very high chance.
I know. I think I know fine well what it was. It was later on that year.
Yeah.
I was just scrolling YouTube and I found a tutorial on how to do like a CGI lightsaber. Not really CGI, but it was like an overlay light source thing, and it was on HitFilm. It was free. I did it in my room. I got like a lightsaber and waved it around and then edited it, and it looked real. And I was like, "Oh my god, it's not real, but it looks close enough." And then I was like, "Let's do a YouTube video with this. Let's just make a whole thing around this. Let's do one for The Last Jedi because that was coming out that December."
Yeah.
And
market and Britton. There you go. See, from day one.
There you go. And that was what. Yeah, that was what we.
Yeah.
That was what we wanted to do, wasn't it? We
did that and Force Awakens
in one, and then the Force Awakens one came out later because it was it was shoddy, really. But The Last Jedi, let's talk about that. So
yes,
we
So for The Last Jedi, we essentially tried to recreate the original
the
Last
trailer.
Jedi trailer.
The trailer, yeah.
Yeah, where like it opens with like Rey on Acto, and then it shows her like her training with a lightsaber with the Rock, and then we added a few extra bits. Like,
of course we did.
Did we film it after it came out? We must have filmed it after it came out.
Yeah, we did.
Because we had Yoda in it and everything like that. Like,
but this came out on the 24th of December 2017, Christmas Eve, right? It must have been out about a week before. The turnaround on that is incredible.
Yeah, it's very impressive.
I think
God, it must have been cold that day when we did it in December.
Yeah, it would have been. It would have been.
Yeah.
But we did it because we did have some stuff, like the Snoke stuff and the Yoda stuff, which is in the film that we wouldn't have known about.
Yeah.
So basically, it's like, and I want to sort of clarify for those listening, it's like, this isn't like a high budget thing. This was very much me in a sort of grey shirt with a stick, pretending that I was Rey with a daft toy lightsaber. Like, it's very, very low budget, but it's charming in a weird way. Yes, it's poorly edited, it's a bit cringe. Memories from filming that one. Swinging a lightsaber around and just hitting sticks off trees.
I remember you taking the stuff that you had, because I remember you had the Walking Dead stuff at the time, didn't you? I can't remember the character's name.
It wasn't an official prop, you know.
No, but you made it, yeah.
Out of a broom handle.
Oh, it was a broom handle?
Yeah.
I didn't realise that's what it was.
Just a stick, yeah.
And I remember you used that and took that outside and swinging it. I remember you hitting like the twig off the tree. I remember doing the Yoda bit with like a green sock.
So there's a green sock from one of these trampoline places.
Oh yeah! Oh god, yes, it was.
And it was like a bit sticky on the inside. It was horrible.
Yeah.
And you just put your hand in it and stuck a stick in the ground next to it, so like you had a little walking stick. Terrible, absolute dog shit. But
and what else do we have? We had stuff in the in the bathroom with, and you had black tape for
black tape for the thing that Callum's face. I was stood in my shower because that was the thing that looked most like the inside of a spaceship. Then we had the spaceship scene, which was just in my hallway.
That wasn't recorded by me
with a PNG. Oh, you're gonna do that? Are you gonna just take?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Off ship? Okay, yeah, I did that. Thanks for
I
appreciate it.
This is the worst part of the trailer.
Fuck you. That is low. You're dressed up as Luke Skywalker.
With the Santa's beard.
In the famous Luke Skywalker super dry coat.
Yep, the famous green super dry coat that I had when I was a kid.
The famous green super dry coat that Luke Skywalker wore in the film. Prop replica.
Yeah, obviously. Prop replica, obviously. And I had a scout shirt on, like over the shoulders.
Mm. And then there was me as Snoke.
Yes, with the bald cap on, where you look like a condom.
Yeah, and I made the same joke, but I did look like a condom. I put the bald head thing too fucking low down.
So far down.
So it pulled my eyebrows up, and it was just, I don't know, but like I looked like a condom. I looked like a giant condom. And that's supremely the Snoke.
Supremely, literally. You voiced over it afterwards as well, didn't you?
Supreme Durex leader Snoke. Supreme, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good joke though. There isn't one really.
Trojan Snoke.
Okay,
anyway,
that's all right.
It was just
really. It's quite a short one. It does the trick.
That was the
fun.
first one that we did. It was short, snappy. They got very long later on.
Yeah, they did.
And this mustn't have taken us.
Sorry, I don't know why I said that.
They must have got. Well, I feel like they got slightly more professional later on, but at the start it was very, very slap and dash.
The worst one was the Force Awakens one, because we filmed it, but like with the intention of making it dark. I don't know why we just didn't keep it here in the day, because I can't color grade for shit, especially back then.
Yeah.
But I just sort of took daytime footage and then just like darkened it, so you can't really see anything. Even the lightsabers are just sort of like there, and they don't really give any reflection or anything.
Yeah. So for the Force Awakens one, we basically did it. We did it in like a woodland. At the back of George's house.
A woodland? A woodland at the back of my house? We never used that, did we?
What? What do you... Oh, you're saying we used it too... Sorry, my sarcasm is terrible.
For every fucking project we did, we used that word.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. So so we basically, for the Force Awakens, instead of doing like a trailer, we just wanted to do it quick and also just
do a little bit of a
played around with lightsabers,
yeah.
And I love the final fight from Force Awakens, so we basically tried to recreate it with like the battle and that one was chaos because obviously we had to have the camera in like one position while we were doing this stuff.
Yeah, and you had two lightsabers sitting against each other as
lightsabers
well with two different colours and smashes and stuff. So
I remember doing the Force pull where I just launched the lightsaber and you reversed the reversed the footage.
I like the bit where the lightsaber just glitches out and the overlay just doesn't work. I mean, it looks all right for the time.
Yeah.
For the skill set, this was the first time I'd ever done that lightsaber overlay, and it kind of worked. A few years on that, it would have been a really great effect. You can see us talking, though, which is interesting.
Yes, this is the thing. I think, because we filmed it in December, it was hella windy, and I have a feeling that we did memorize the lines. Now, remember, we did the lines, but I have a feeling it was too windy, and because the camera had to be slightly further away from us.
I think it took away from it. I think it made it look worse, and I think that it wasn't funny enough. So I think I just kind of, as if they had a standard back then, and and I sort of just took it down, and then was like, I just took the volume down and just put Jewel of the Fates over it because it was the easiest thing to do, really. Then,
I just remember, the wind
you can see us
being
talking
on like a camera mic was just. Not how, like, literally just a camera mic, anything else.
At that point, what was it? My dad's DSLR, or was it even that?
It was.
Was it even that at that point? I don't know if it was.
There's a chance it wasn't. There's actually a very high chance it wasn't.
My little handheld camcorder.
I was going to say it might have been the camera recorder. It might have been. Did you use that as your webcam? Was it literally just your webcam?
I don't know. I don't even know if I had a webcam then.
I don't know. Yeah, something. Maybe it was just a little handheld. It wasn't even the DSLR.
It was later the DSLR, but I don't know if it was that early.
Yeah.
But then anyway, we sort of, what was our next project? Was Day of the Doctor.
Day of the Doctor was massive.
That was a fun one. I mean, that was a huge one. So that was our first Doctor Who one. So this was around the time I started gaining a bit of traction on my Doctor Who content. It was early 2018. Capaldi had just regenerated into Jodie, and Jodie Whittaker was set to start a new series later that year. There wasn't any really official news or anything yet. We'd seen some filming pictures, but I was starting to get a bit of traction in the Doctor Who community. So I thought, well, if we're going to do another big project like this, another big fun project like this, we'll do a Doctor Who one. So we did let's have a look, a 6.5 minute Day in the Doctor thing. Now that actually feels longer than that.
So, yeah, but I think it probably feels longer than that because you're in basically every scene like multiple times. So that's probably why it feels longer.
This is the only one really where the majority of it, you're not really in it, I guess. But I guess you're not really I suppose you're not really in most of it. It's more just...
I think this is one of the ones I'm in most. Probably not.
Possibly not. I would say maybe the...
Woman of Hell to Earth I'm not in. So...
No, that's... I'd learnt my lesson by then, clearly.
Obviously. Just keep me behind the camera. You've got this beautiful face behind the camera. But yeah, so Day of the Doctor, obviously,
Day of the Doctor,
three main Doctors, again out in the woodland. We'd upgraded to the DSLR this time.
Definitely. You can see the difference.
We had a full tripod, yeah. We had the full tripod, the full-size tripod. We also had box lights and a green screen for this one.
Did we? Did we have box lights?
You had the box light. Your box lights you had by this one, I'm certain.
Wow.
Because we had the box lights in the tiny little room.
I forgot about those big ones. Yeah, they were mad.
The big light, yeah. And then I think you had the green screen. Well, obviously you had the green screen.
Yeah, definitely had the green. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But I think the with this one, the key thing was like, this was the first time like I was writing a proper script for it. You know what I mean? There was actual like the majority of this wasn't just recreating a trailer. This was an actual skit that was written and performed, if you could say that. So
say it with your chest. Performed.
I performed it like an actor. I'm an actor, and I played David Tennant, Matt Smith, and Peter Capaldi to my absolute perfection. David Tennant just sounded like he had a stroke. Matt Smith had a lisp, and Capaldi just sounded like a generic Scotsman. So top work.
Because it was.
But it was written. It was actually written, and it was fun, and it was it was kind of weird because obviously there's three of me as different characters in the same setting. Obviously, we couldn't have two of me in the same shot interacting with each other, despite the fact that all three characters are talking to each other. There were a couple of cool shots, though.
Yeah, there's a few we did where we just kept the camera in place.
Clever,
and then,
a little bit of clever editing, really. We've got a shot
the main one of the three of you, I should say.
Three of them. See, it works, doesn't it?
Yeah, three of them, yeah. It it's basically just keep the camera in place and then you edited it.
Yeah, so
cut it down the middle. Yeah,
it was standard like technique, but it worked really well for this because obviously it's still low budget, but it sort of just sells it a little bit more. There's a great shot, obviously, of the three Doctors or me playing each version of the Doctor, but standing in the same location next to each other, pointing their sonic screwdrivers. It sounds so cringe when I'm describing it. And then there's a one where I'm dressed as Peter Capaldi and I'm sort of stood opposite me as Matt Smith. and you can sort of
Yeah.
see me closer to the lens as Peter Capaldi and then further away as Matt Smith. So it's a lot more creative, and obviously it's not
Yeah.
a bloody short film or anything that prestigious, but it's certainly something. Like, it's definitely well made to an extent.
obviously-
Like, it's
You wrote dialogue in a script, and you had to remember all three
Yeah.
different people's lines.
Yeah.
So
I mean, exactly, yeah. It was a bit crazy, and it was a very hectic. I think once again we did film it all in one day.
oh well, yeah, we
That
did
was
without a
always our thing. We
Yeah.
never filmed more than one day,
No.
really, did we? Which is kind of crazy
No.
as well. We did
Yeah.
film everything in one day just because it was simpler. It was like one day on a weekend or something. We'd just do
Yeah.
it, and it was great.
doubt. Yeah, it was.
Because it
Yeah.
means you get everything done, and you have a really fun day out, and you're like, oh my god, got all the footage there. That's really cool.
And it was hella muddy. It was so muddy that day.
so muddy. It was so muddy. You
Made
can see
good
me
for you coming through the portals
There's
and
a bit.
sliding.
There's a bit where I come out of a portal and slide along the ground, and there are many outtakes of that because I just stack it half the time, and then Cooper has to throw me a fez from off screen as I do the slippy landing,
Yeah.
and then that's sort of that didn't go entirely right half the time. There was quite a lot of
So-
takes of that one.
I've just had a thought in my head.
Mm.
Did you do a blooper video for this one? For some reason, I seem to remember there being a blooper video.
There was a blooper video, yeah.
There is a blooper video, okay. Oh,
We
there
did
was,
make
yeah.
we did make one.
I mean, there's going to be a lot, yeah.
It's 11 minutes long. Oh, so it's bloopers and behind the scenes. So it clearly wasn't funny
Ah.
enough, so I had to put some behind the scenes in there. I remember
Yeah.
I used to do that. I'd do a blooper and behind the scenes video. But like, wow, it's just past the point where we can get mid-rolls on this video. But half of it seems to be George talking about the editing process like he knows what he's talking about. I am pretty sure in that video, and I'm just quoting from memory, there was a point where I'm taking the dog for a walk, and I'm filming in the wood, and I'm filming in the woods, going, "This is where we filmed the Day of the Doctor special."
Yo, that'll be up there with like Hogwarts, like that'll be up there with the greatest exteriors
It's
in cinema history.
it's really just, yeah, it really funny kind of bit of me just going, so this is me taking the dog for a walk, and this is where we filmed it. It's very much edited like that.
Yeah.
And then there's just random B-roll. There literally is. And the mad thing is, it's 2 minutes into the 11-minute blooper reel of me walking.
B-roll?
Of me.
Oh my God, of you just walking.
Of me walking, yeah. But that was a fun experience. And then the other half of it was, so we had a half in the woods, and then we had half
Yeah.
on a green screen. There's a scene in Day of the Doctor where all of the Doctors are sort of flying through the sky, coming towards to save the home planet Gallifrey. They're all in their separate TARDISes, and they're all sort of like Zoom calling in. And you can see them all, and they're all sort of reacting and talking to the camera. So there was a lot of that as well that we green screened, and we sort of basically just had me sat again in front of a green screen with different stupid shite on it. So yeah, we had that, and we had the green screen stuff, and it was a bit fun. We had a lot of fun with that, and it was a bit
Yeah,
crazy.
we did, yeah.
But it did come together. I think I have to sort of tap myself on the back a little bit here, only because it's sort of that could have fell apart if it wasn't for the fact that the green screen stuff was quite well edited, I think.
Yeah, it was. The green screen stuff was in probably the smallest room in your house. So it was
Absolutely tiny. The camera was
Yeah.
right up to my face. It was very
Yeah.
close quarters, but we managed to. It was quite a small green screen as well. That's why it was so close, because it's the only way to get a shot really with it.
Yeah, it was quite a beast. It was literally like, not that you can see on the camera, but it was like literally like TikTok can see this. It was like this. It was like you were this close to me. Like there's a photo somewhere of me sitting on your windowsill behind the camera with like the camera between my legs.
No, it's in the behind the scenes video.
Oh, is it behind the scenes? Yeah, so it's,
yeah. It's actually
yeah,
I tell you,
it's me.
It's in the nostalgia bit. This is the other thing as well. When we obviously launched this podcast, we had that little trailer which went out on YouTube. There's a lot of clips from.
Oh
these,
yes, it is. Yeah,
From these
Yeah.
things, it's in there. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, I was literally sitting on the windowsill. Yeah, it was wild. And
But
I remember every time you changed outfit, you would do the tonight. Which I think's in the BTS. You do the tonight, Matthew. And then you'd go away and walk back in.
That's really sad.
Every time without
as
fail.
someone who was born in 2001 making Stars in Your Eyes references.
I didn't get the reference. I'm not gonna lie at the time.
No, you shouldn't. Neither should I. Really, I shouldn't. Never mind making them. I shouldn't even get them.
Yeah.
But we worked with a lot of great people on that as well. We asked for a lot of great people to sort of get involved and provide their sort of voice acting talents, or in some cases actually visual talents. There's a YouTuber called Wingy Media who I sort of contacted to do a fourth Doctor impression, Tom Baker, who he was great at, and he did a whole thing, and he stood in front of a camera, and he dressed up as Tom Baker, and he did the whole thing, and the whole line of dialogue, and I edited it in, and I was like, it's really cool, you know? I paid an impressionist £5 to do a really good impression of Chris Eccleston. That's a fun story from that thing. It was the only bit of money I spent on that whole production.
It's a good impression as well.
Yeah, it was a good impression. Really great impression. Definitely worth it. Professional voice actor, so yeah, it sounded really good. But I can't really think of anything else from that review that's like that notable. It's kind of a fun one. It is on YouTube publicly. You can go and watch it. Day of the Doctor review, but it is cringe. You know, It is cringe, but it's funny. It's fun. It's really cringe, but at the end of the day, it's sort of 5+ years ago. I don't really. It's kind of mad that I know it's going to sound weird that it's only 5 years ago. It feels a lot longer. That's what's mad to me. Yeah, it feels a lot longer. It's a different place in life. Like, obviously, we're both pretty much at the other side of uni now. Yeah, and it's like this was before. I mean, this was probably when I was just sixth form, just before sixth form for me. I think. Yeah. So it's a bit crazy. Yeah, and then we moved on to We did Westworld next, wasn't it? Westworld was next, and we talked about this a little bit in the Westworld episode. So for the 5 people who watched that, this will be sort of treading familiar ground. I'm not. You're not giving this up. I'm taking the piss, but it's just a funny little one in there. There's no bitterness at all. But the Westworld one was. I personally think it's the most chaotic one we had. I think it's the worst shoot. I think it was really fun to shoot. I was really happy with it. Fun. And the problem I had with it was the after effect. I think thinking back, it was probably the most socially embarrassing one for me. We did this in public. Yeah. This was in public. It's more the fact that when I joined sixth form, I remember on the notice board, someone had taken a screenshot of me dressed as Dolores and edited it onto something, which is not great. But fair enough, you know, you put yourself out there on the internet, you need to stand by what you do. I stand by everything I do on this podcast, more or less. Yeah, so it's like, you got to sort of stay with that. There's, again, brave of me, topless. Oh, God, yeah. Because there's scenes in Westworld where... Yeah. You're going to joke about nipples? What was that about? I mean, like, I wouldn't get my top Some may off say now. Out of control. Yeah, honestly, I was in my... No, don't say that. Some may say he was out of control. Yeah. No, it was it was wild, that shoot. It was majority outdoors, again, shock horror. But this time we went further into the woodland. That's what we did. The Willows. Damn. So there's a place near where we live called the Willows, and it is it's dog walker's heaven. It's a dog walker heaven. It's a lovely big open space field. It's perfect for a Westworld skit because it's just a big open space. The problem is, I don't know how we were so brave, Cooper, because, you know, knowing, I mean, I can only speak for myself, but knowing my social anxiety, why in the hell I decided to go somewhere nearby where we lived, nearby where people from our school could feasibly be, to dress up as cowboys and ninjas and start fucking throwing ourselves around in front of a camera. When I look back on it, I'm like, why the hell did we do that? But I don't have any resentment at the time. No, not at all. Yeah. I'm just thinking, how did we have the balls to do that? Because the chances are, someone we knew could have walked around the corner at any point. But easily, I guess we were so into it, and we're just like, this is good, that we didn't give a shit. There's different bits of us wearing different wigs. I was going to say, not that we did much, but we did a lot in the public bit as well. Yeah. It was quite a lot compared to... One thing is the woods behind my house, right? Which is, like, no one really goes in there. The occasional dog walker. So the Day of the Doctor stuff is absolutely fine. The Star Wars stuff, absolutely fine. Like, no one really goes in there. You can kind of use that for filming. The Willows, people did walk through there. That was quite a popular area to... know, for locals. And again, it was, for a lot of it, both of us were on camera. Me just, like, sometimes filling in and playing characters. And... yeah, it was bizarre. And then obviously we did the Shogun one as well, which was, I assume, on the same day. The Shogun World. Like, we did a teaser trailer for what I vaguely remember. Which is quite ballsy of us. I think we filmed the whole Westworld thing. I think we got in, and then we were like, let's film a trailer for it. I seem to remember that as well. Because I feel like we went back out. I had an ninja outfit, and we were like, let's just go and do like a mini, tiny little bit. That was crazy. We couldn't. I wouldn't have the energy to do that now. It's wild doing it in a day. Like, I had so much energy back then. It was honestly.
Crazy.
But we
Like
had a
carrying
lot
all the stuff that we had as well. Like carrying when we went to the main public area, we had your dog, which it's not a small dog. He's a reasonably not fat dog. He's like just like a
Stop calling.
like
Harry does not need to go on a diet. Leave him alone.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, but he's like compared to like my dog, he's not
Yeah.
a small. Like he's not a small dog.
Sure, yeah. He's a big boy.
We had the tripod, the camera, all the spare kit for the camera, like all spare batteries and stuff.
Why did we take the fucking dog? Why did we take the fucking dog with us when we were filming? Did we have to?
I think we had to.
we
Was he not
didn't.
very young?
Oh,
And
he might have been. He might have been. Yeah, I might have to stay with
and
him.
all your family were at the house, so we had to take him with us.
That's kind of annoying. Yeah, that's possibly true. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, this looks really good though. When I'm watching it back,
It does, yeah.
I think we filmed it. We must have filmed it in the summer. This came out in June, so I reckon it was when I came back.
It was the height of summer because it was absolutely boiling when we
Roasting,
did it on
wasn't
the
it?
day. Yeah, it was.
You got
I was
clips of
absolutely
me
sweating.
in the garage with my top off. Brave.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got me on the garden outside having water thrown on me, drawn on beards.
Yeah. The drawn-on beard.
Go on.
Because
Go on.
George couldn't grow a beard.
Still can't.
And still can't. Do you want me to say my bit that I said before? Is that what you're looking for? Is that what you're fishing for?
You do whatever you want, mate. You just
The beard that George has grown. I'm not giving him that much credit.
Yeah, dickhead.
The beard.
Well done. Use your words, mate. Come on.
The drawn-on beard that George had in the Westworld one is literally the beard I have now. Like literally one for one. Like, let's put an image comparison here.
Let's fucking not
for social medias. Like
let's not
for socials. That's my new profile picture. Just the comparison. That's what I'm gonna do. Let's go. But yeah, it's
there's some great stuff in here though. It is funny.
Yeah,
and
it is a beautiful. Some of it is actually really aesthetic, like the stuff that we did or attempted to do.
Yeah,
I shan't harping on about what we. If you want to hear about the lost. Actually, yeah, that's the only one we had lost footage for, and I shan't go on about lost footage.
Oh, we did this. We did this. We've done that already.
You can go and talk about. You can go. I had like a 10-minute rant in the Westworld episode.
If you want to hear about that, you can go to the Westworld episode.
Yeah, I had like a 10-minute rant about losing footage and I just it looked stunning. There's like a shot in the trailer where the man in black's in like an all black room and we had like a very small light on, and I just remember it might not have looked terrible, and in my mind I've just completely gassed myself up, and because it's gone, so
I
can't find it.
A lot of this is good though. Like, it's that one shot that does stick out. The man in black costume is relatively pretty good. Like, I definitely bought a cowboy hat for that and had the black coat. You had your ninja outfit and your sort of very much not real katana.
Yep, not real katana.
And the sort of
katana.
Just random shite that we did. I had a Western gun as well, I think.
Yeah, and the stuff with your dad as well. That was.
So this was this is a video that my dad was in. I forgot to. Yeah, it's a good thing to mention actually. So
yeah,
my dad loves Westworld, and he's a big fan of it, and he got me into it. And like any loving father, he was very keen to be involved with when I was doing a film project like this. And this was the one where I was like, okay, we can do something, because it's always, I think at that age it is a little bit sort of, you're a little bit, it's a bit cringe to have your dad involved with it, but I don't know. I mean, but then also it's like, I think it's cooler when you're a bit older, but I think at that age it's just sort of like, you don't want to do it. But now,
see, I don't see it that way, and I rate that your dad was like, I want to be in this. Like, I rate that highly.
No, it's sweet, yeah, definitely. But there's a bit,
and it's such a good idea. Like, it's such a good idea, and it looks great, the stuff that you did.
Yeah, and my dad just sort of appears for a quick flash in it, because there's a scene where I'm shooting a gun, and then it's sort of flashing on and off, and then my dad appears holding the very same gun.
Yeah. Which is a shot from the show.
Yeah, it is, and we sprayed his hair white.
I actually never realised that.
We sprayed. Yeah, he hasn't got that hair in real life. We did.
No, I know that, but I've just never put two and two together.
We sprayed his hair white. I don't know if we ever got a photo of my dad dressed in that, but that's a shame if we didn't, because that's really funny. We got a lot of other photos because we were using a DSLR. Yeah. And then there's a shot at the end of it where you got the dog, and then you've got my dad playing the piano, but not actually playing it. But
no.
Hey, they are good shots. Like, they look good.
And
my dad's like reflection in the guitar for some reason.
Yeah. It's a good idea. Honestly, it's a great idea.
Some good, general. I mean, obviously, it's a fucking YouTube skit, but there's a little bit of cinematography in there. Like, there's some ideas.
And I think you have to give us credit where credit's due, is because, like, we just used what we had. Like, obviously, like we said, we bought the green screen, bought the box light, but, like, props, and we bought very few props. The reflection using the guitar on the wall was a good idea. It was there anyway. It's like, I've said this before. I think I said it episode 1 whenever I said it. I am proud of these skits.
100%,
like,
me too, yeah.
For the time that it was, bearing in mind I didn't do media. I didn't do any sort of film kind of stuff at school.
Yeah.
And I think you have to give yourself more credit. Like, the scripts that you wrote for, like, Day the Doctor and Woman Who Fell to Earth, which we'll get to, are incredible. Like, they're very good. They're very funny.
I don't think
for what they are.
Yeah,
like,
for what they are, is a daft
like, they're
YouTube
not.
skit.
Yeah,
and the fact that I
are.
was like, what, 16, 17 when I wrote them. They're not
exactly.
There's definitely more unfunny things out there, but it's it was fun, wasn't it? That's the thing for me is, and I think you've mentioned this before. It's like it doesn't matter how good or bad it is, right? It doesn't matter. Oh God, fucking voice break. It doesn't matter how good or bad it is. It's very much like we had fun making it, and we have really good memories off the back of that. Well, I'm speaking for myself, but like we had like a good time making them, and like at least for me, like some of my favorite memories making YouTube videos are when I got to do a project like this, when I decided I wanted to do something big like this, because it takes time, it takes effort, but it's always worth it because not only do you get a fun project at the end of it, but
fun memory.
There's something that you get, fun memory. And then here we are 5-6 years later on a podcast talking about these exact memories. So
it was always one of those things where it was being in school and being the age that we were, chances are people were going to say stuff. Like, that's just the be-all
people
and
were
end-all
already
of
saying
being in
stuff
UK
about
schools.
me.
But
you know what I mean? Like, I don't care.
But it's one of those things that if someone were to say something, I actually wouldn't care, because I was at the time and still am proud of what they are and what we produced and the ideas that we did and the improvisations that we did on the days and what we had to work around. Like, it is what it is. Like, they're beautiful now. God knows what we could do now. It'd be absolutely mental.
We could definitely, yeah. And I would love to work with you on some sort of filmy project again, and I'm sure we will at some point, because I'm still, working away at like writing projects and stuff, and I'm still definitely wanting to make more films in the future. Make more films. These aren't really films, but you know what I mean. It's like I want to do.
They're just like projects, like
something
whether
like
they're
that.
short films, like whether they're like
But I'd love to have you involved with that in the future, and I'd be buzzing to work with you on that sort of thing again. It'd be very nostalgic, in a sort of way.
It literally would be nostalgia bit, literally nostalgia bit on tour, like quite literally.
So we did
but moving on from the sentimental stuff and from
Westworld and all the wishy-washy fucking bollocks, let's talk about the Woman Who Fell to Earth, which was our biggest one.
Oh, easily.
Easily. Let's have a look how long this one was. So this was
10 minutes.
This was a great one because this was just perfectly timed. This was the ideal episode, because with a YouTube video, especially with a Doctor Who review or a review of any TV show episode, you want to be the first. You want to be always the first to get it out, right? And my mentality was, we'll film a couple months in advance, and then what we'll do is I'll edit it together, and then on the night or the day or whatever, when I watch the episode, I'll add it in, and I'll do the actual review, and I'll add that in at the end, and I'll upload it straight away. We filmed this, and then about a week or so later, I got invited to go to the press screening of this exact episode that I was planning to review for this big animated whatever. We filmed, genuinely, and I'm looking at here, almost 9 minutes 55. Almost 10 minutes of actual like written scripts, like skit. That we filmed, and then I got invited to go and see the episode early so we could have a full video edited
and done
and ready to go the second the episode finishes. That went out, and it was just everything lined up perfectly together. It looked like we had hours and hours and hours and days of effort. It looked, and we made some guesses for the skit as well. We made some guesses about things in the episode that ended up being correct. So fucking perfect as well. But I just think this is the one that, if we're looking back at the skits, right, the Westworld one was fun for like a cinematography level because we were trying to recreate shots from the trailer and the show. This one was just all us, and it was all, again, it's the writing as well. It's the writing as well that I was proud of with this one, because it was like, this is an actual, like, the structure of it. Okay, it's still that same sort of no budget, sort of low level YouTube kind of review vibe. Of course it has. Yeah. But is it fun? Is it well structured? Yeah, it kind of is. We start with me falling on a green screen, and then it cut into a pause, and Babbitt O'Reilly. What is the song called? Is it
I've got no idea.
Is it Baba O'Reilly?
Yeah, and it's so while you're trying to search
Baba
that,
O'Reilly, it
yeah.
was that song. And it's sort of like I can't replicate it, but it's a famous sort of filmy thing. And I'm like, and then the title comes on to the dun dun dun. It's like, this is actually like this thought behind it. There's a vision, like, whereas the other ones were just kind of like, let's go out and film this. This was very much like a structure. We knew what we were trying to do. We knew what we were trying to say.
Yeah. The Westworld one was, when we were filming the Westworld one, we had the trailer there, like, and we were actively trying to recreate these shots, and it was just how we were going about it. And whereas
we filmed a lot of filler. We filmed a lot of other stuff that we could just whack in when there was a gap in the trailer music.
Whereas with this one, this was all your idea. All the script was your idea. Like, we didn't take anything. Well, bar the odd few shots, like the Jodie's what's it called? Oh my god, Bryn melt.
Regeneration? What are you talking about?
Yes, regeneration. Oh my god, I was going to say resurrection. Jodie's regeneration. Like, that bit is obviously trying to take from the show.
Yeah.
But for the majority of it, like, no, we didn't use any trailers, no next time or anything like that. Like, literally, it was all your idea with the script and stuff like that, and characters and all that.
To break down what we tried to go for with this was basically like, we didn't have the episode in front of us that we could watch, right? We had a few leaks, we had the trailers, and we had a lot of interviews and behind-the-scenes stories, right? So the idea was, we have the shot of that we last saw from Doctor Who previously, where Jodie Whittaker's doctor's just been out of regeneration and she's falling towards the ground. So we do that shot, and then it would be cut to whatever. Let's go back a few months to when Jodie was cast.
Yeah.
And make jokes around that. There was a story at the time about Jodie Whittaker calling up David Tennant, and Chris Chibnall calling up David Tennant and being like, the next person who calls you is going to be the Doctor. We made a joke about that. There was a whole thing.
The insurance company one.
There was a whole thing about Jodie auditioning with like a box of like random shite and electricals, and we did a bit of that. We did just a lot of back and forward, a lot of like phone call stuff. But the idea was, we basically tell a timeline of Jodie Whittaker being cast in the show, but with a few jokes and exaggerations. Like, when David Tennant had a little scene, it was me doing David Tennant again, but it was just waffle, like it was in Day of the Doctor. I can't do a Tennant impression. There was no dialogue. It was just Tennant noises in the script, and it was just like, well, it was that sort of waffle. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then it was just, the rest of it was just kind of like estimated guesses, like interactions between
characters,
Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall and other stuff with the show. Like, what's the new TARDIS going to look like? At this point, we didn't know, but we made a joke about
you standing in front of a green screen that hadn't been chromed out.
Yeah, and making a joke about how colourful the TARDIS is.
Yeah,
like, there was some good stuff in there. Like, they're making the new sonic screwdriver. That was the only thing that was leaked, and we guessed how that would kind of go down, and we got it spot on. There was a lot of ad-libbing as well.
It was funny. I was so funny with the ad-libbing. There's a part in it when George. So there's a part of it where George gets. What's it called? It's like car wash out.
It's this whole scene where we were basically like
car shampoo.
We assumed, the guess we made was that in the episode, the Doctor would make her own sonic screwdriver, and she'd make it herself, and that was the guess we made, and we actually recreated it relatively well, and we were correct, thankfully. But the whole thing is like a sort of what is it? Not Rambo.
Basically, we
Rocky,
had like a
Rocky. It was Rocky. It's like a Rocky music. It was the
like
Rocky
a training
music,
arc kind of like
a training montage kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And it was me hitting different things like a hammer, all that sort of thing. And there was a bit where I picked up this car shampoo, and I think I told you, I was like, just stop me, as if this is like highly flammable, explosive stuff, and I'll just ad lib whatever I want, really.
So we had, for lighting, we had like a heater, like a space heater, like a red-orange space heater.
That is so funny,
we used for lighting,
by the way, because it was fucking boiling in there when we did it.
Yeah, I was sweating.
Because we needed a red light, but we didn't have any lights or colouring, so we just used an outdoor like heater light, which was fucking red, indoors in a garage, which is insane.
Yeah, so for that, we had that, and then George basically came to me and was like, we'll do this bit where I pick up like car shampoo, and I'll be like, oh, it's explosive stuff, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, we can't use that. I'll put it down, and then we'll carry on with whatever we want to do. Bro did not want to do that, okay? So, bearing in mind, if it's not already obvious, I laugh quite a lot, and I find a lot of things funny.
Yeah.
And a lot of these scripts, stuff that we haven't spoke about, is there are plenty of times when I am literally like wetting myself behind the camera laughing.
Well,
a lot of the Day of the Doctor ones.
That was it, though.
The Day of the Doctor ones, I was awful for. I was behind the camera, there's clips of the podcast as well. Like, I can't keep it together sometimes when George does stuff. So
because I'm so naturally funny, guys.
So
I'm
funny,
so fucking hilarious.
This one was he took this car shampoo. He was like, we did that. I pulled the camera down to be like as if it was like, yeah, we need to like have a conversation. Start talking. Boris goes off being like, oh yeah, so you know it's car shampoo, and I was remembering I was struggling so bad. It was like
you can hear it on the video, but that's the charm of it though. My intention in that was to try and make you laugh. That was what I was trying to do. I was like, I'll tell you that we're going to do this, and then I will ad lib, and then the ad libbing was let's go until Cooper breaks. And then I start coughing to try and like not laugh essentially, but it just sounds even worse. Yeah.
So, it was. And then the other one was where you made the phallic joke about how the sonic screwdriver looked. Yeah. And we did that about 4 or 5 times because I could not keep it together.
Because you had to have dialogue for that as well. Because you had to be like, I was
what's
like,
that? You set me up really badly for that to make me look like the inappropriate one of the two of us. And then the other one was the bubble machine one as well. I think the bubble machine one's the one where I cough.
That is funny. That actually is funny. When I'm watching that back, I'm like, there's the very few times where I look back and go, that's actually quite a funny moment. It's completely natural. It's complete bollocks. It's like, that was a complete exaggeration, deviation from what we were trying to do. It was like, you can't use this because it's... I can't remember what it is. But I think
you can't use that. You can't use this because it's explosive material. And then it's like that ends and then almost like Jody/George is like, oh, Cooper said we can't use this. Cut, and then it cuts to me walking at the garage being like, what are you doing? He's like, well, you said we couldn't have explosive car shampoo, so I got you an effing bubble machine, and turns round and he was like, oh, Cooper said he wanted a bubble machine, and it's like...
It's that line, isn't it? It's,
it is.
Well,
it gets me every...
Cooper wants a bubble machine.
Still to this day. Because you did everything. You did all of it and put the bubble machine together, and still to this day, it makes me laugh. Like, I remember Cooper being there. It makes me laugh every time, without fail. It's so funny. The whole montage was great because we did it in a garage.
And then I got the bubble machine working.
Yeah, I'm saying you got it working. Yeah.
And then...
Because that's what I'm saying, yeah.
And then I dropped
and then you turn around.
There's a bit on the bottom, I remember, that held the bubble liquid, and it's supposed to pick up. So it's supposed to sit it down on this thing. And I just held it and then sort of dropped the bottom bit, and you could just see everything come away from it as I hold the bubble machine that is not producing any bubbles.
Yeah.
It's like... It's very funny. It's
great,
daft because it's just complete... bullshit. No, Cooper wants a
and then obviously green screen on the floor as well for falling, which was a good idea. It was funny.
So that was a barrel of laughs.
Again, in the tiny little room where we were like, and George is a tall man, so I was standing on like, I was standing on like the back of a sofa or something to try and reach that height. Like, and if you ever meet me and George in real life, there is a large height difference between me and George.
I didn't want to bring this up but now you've mentioned it, I'm going to open the floodgates. I was going to wait for this opportunity because I've had it on multiple occasions where like it was when we went to Star Wars Celebration and I posted photos here and one of of both of us,
yeah,
and one of my flatmates was like, it looks like you've taken your son out to the convention.
Father-son project.
No, it genuinely does because I'm quite tall. I think.
How tall are you? Do you know?
6'4".
George is 6'4". I'm 5'5.5". I say around I'm 5'6". I'm 5'5.5".
Because you're like a year and a half younger than me. There was a point, and I think it is really bad as well. But like, obviously, there's not that much age difference between us, right?
Yeah, it's only like.
But the funny thing is, you look back at any of this old footage, and the funny thing was with like the film club one. I showed my girlfriend the film club footage of when I was in year 9 and you were in year 7. Only a year and a half difference, right?
Yeah.
And like, and she was like, "How old? Like, what? How old was he and how old were you?" And I'm like,
"I've been 12.
You'd have been 12.
14.
I mean 14, right?" And she was like, "Are you sure that's not a 6-year-old boy?" Like, because he was so tiny. He was so tiny, and
I was so small.
I've been lanky from like age 8 onwards. You know what I mean?
I don't mind my height. I'm not really that bothered.
You shouldn't be. You shouldn't be.
You learn to grow with it, and you learn to live with it, not grow with it. But yeah, there's some photos and there's some stuff from when we were filming where I am having to, like, that's one of the reasons why, like, when we were talking earlier with the Day of the Doctor with the green screen stuff, the reason I had to sit on the windowsill partly was because we had no space, but also the camera has to be so high to get George in that I have to like have stuff, or I have to stand further back from it so I can see the screen.
With all the green screen stuff, I had to sit on like a little stool.
Yeah, because the green screen was too short, and we couldn't get the camera far enough back, and I would have literally had to stand on a windowsill. It's crazy. But yeah, that's so just shows, doesn't it? Yeah.
That's
Just
so
shows.
funny.
And then, do you want to briefly touch on Marvel of what we recorded but never saw the light of day?
Well, I mean, we can. I mean, this is
Very
sort of
quickly.
a little hint in for next week. So, yeah, we did record another one. We recorded one just before I went to uni, actually, which I think must have been the first one in a while, probably about a year.
Probably, yeah.
And we got back to record it. It was so adventurous. And I don't know where this footage is. It is somewhere on my computer, and I would love to be able to find it and talk about it right now. But we'll definitely do. And that's also something for all of these. There's definitely going to be a point on Nostalgia Bay, or just on the channel, or anything like that, where we will probably sit down and react to all of these and talk through them properly. We've said we've always wanted to do that.
Yeah.
And we
have done it once. We have done it once.
We recorded
when we filmed Marvel. But it was like...
So that entire day's worth of recordings never made it to light, which is really sad, actually.
Yeah, and it's been long enough now where when we did Marvel, it'd only been like a year since we'd recorded like Jodie Whittaker's or something. And now it's been long enough where it would be funny to sit and... Like, obviously, we talk back through them now, but it would be funny to sit and see... Because, like, our reactions before this when we watched them were hilarious. But it's not, like, it's not right to just...
It's sort of funny, isn't it?
Hearing us laugh.
I feel like if I look back on that, we've probably got all the footage and I've probably got all the script where it could actually be edited together. The problem was we recorded it before I went to uni, and then I went to uni, and then it was like, I just haven't got time to edit it. Of course I didn't. So I was just like, what I probably could have done is I probably could have edited it in lockdown, because that was only a year, like half a year after, but...
Yeah.
Oh well.
We basically attempted to recreate one or two scenes.
One or two?
Every...
Oh, yeah. Well, to say,
one or two scenes from every Phase 1 Marvel movie. That's what I was going to say.
Which is crazy, by the way. Yeah. The funny thing is, there is actually finished edited assets.
Is there?
Yeah, there is. I did start, yeah. There was an Iron Man joke where he's doing the press conference. That was fully edited. And I'll tell you, the shot didn't look bad. Like, I remember it.
I don't really remember a lot, like... It was.
We
I think
did
it was
quite
so
a lot of it.
Quick. Yeah,
but the unique thing about this one was we filmed it at Cooper's house, not mine.
Yeah, this was different.
Because I think we got to a point where we were like, we can't keep using the same house.
Because it was this. It wasn't that. It was because the green screen that the room that we were doing your green screen in was no space.
Yeah.
And we couldn't have you sitting like with the Day of the Doctor one. You can sit down because you're sitting in a TARDIS console, or it looks like that. Yeah. This one, you had to be like full body, like at least you had to have legs or torso up, and you can't do that with the space. Whereas mine, there was enough space to be able to put the full green screen up to its full size and have the camera further back so we can see most of you.
100%. Yeah. I think. That's a good point. We will have to have a look at that at some point and react to that. But I can't remember. I remember like there was a few daft jokes in there, but it was probably decent because the footage looks good. And I remember like I made like a really shit cardboard Iron Man mask, and I had like Captain America shield, the sort of outfits and stuff. There was a lot of costumes and shit. Yeah.
We filmed the Avengers circle as well.
We did. We filmed each character in front of the green screen spinning around, so then you could edit in one big circle. Now, I never did it, but in theory that could actually work. It's all there.
Without a doubt.
I'd be interested to have a look at that. But I was trying to start something. I was trying to do like a big thing. My channel wasn't going in that direction to do that at that time, so it was just kind of like, but you know, it was a fun experience, and I love making it, and I think that's the same for all of these. Is it was such a fond memory of at least my childhood, and I feel like for you as well, you share this sentiment. I mean, you said before,
easily,
like,
without a doubt, it's some of my fondest memories I have from like that kind of era of my era of childhood.
Yeah, I know. Fucking wishy-washy bollocks. Come on, but
you know what I mean. Like
I think I made a lot of YouTube content. Some of the best memories I have from making YouTube content at all are from these videos. It's a shame, like, because my channel sort of grew at that point, and during uni was like the biggest sort of traction, really, and a lot of the stuff I made then. Oh, there's so many projects I made during uni which would have been so much better if I'd had you like involved with it, like, and actually filming it. Because it's good, and it's like there's some stuff where I'm like, I'm in front of a green screen. I'm going, man, back in the day I'd be doing this for Cooper, and like not just in my living room by myself. Like, this is.
I remember there's one video you did. I don't know when it was, when you were at uni, in front of a green screen.
Yeah, I know.
Where you were like pointing to stuff. It was so funny. It was such a good video.
Was one of my favorite videos. Oh Christ, that was an awful voice break. Jesus Christ.
It was incredible. It was such a good video.
I love that one. It was fun, but it was like in front of a green screen. But it was just me sort of waffling and then edited it together. Editing, that's all it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all of them. At some point, we'll definitely come back and react to these.
Without doubt.
Talk about these again. I know there's some great ones, and now we've talked about them, I'm sure people are going to go and try and find them. The Doctor Who ones, as I say, are on my channel. I probably will.
Yeah.
But the Westworld and Star Wars ones,
Westworld might be, or at least I think is the Westworld teaser trailer not still up?
think I removed it.
Oh, you might have, I don't know.
It's all unlisted.
It's all unlisted, yeah. The Doctor Who ones are there. The Doctor Who ones, I think, are the best ones. So
but you might be able to find it.
worth
It might be in a playlist somewhere.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you're in the Discord server, maybe I will send it over in a bit.
That's
That's
a good idea.
Little jump there. But yeah,
But
I think that's that.
is it time?
Ah, Cooper. Is it? It is time.
I think it's time.
I think it's time for Just News.
It's time for Just News.
Just
I don't know
News.
what
We haven't got a jingle,
Yeah.
but we need to get a jingle for the next series.
We do need to get a jingle for just
Yeah.
definitely. So George, do you know what I hate?
Ooh. Now, I mean, so many jokes I could make, but I'm not going to.
I hate being scammed. Okay.
Do you?
Do you hate being scammed, George?
I enjoy it a little bit. I get a kick out of it. No, I don't. I hate it. Awful.
So on metro.co.uk, other news platforms are available.
This is who we've stolen from this week.
Nuns are being targeted by bishop bots that look like clergy asking for cash. Published February 25th, 2024 at 3:23 p.m.
What
Told
a
you it was a
title.
good one.
Also, is this the first Just News that's been published since we started this podcast?
Potentially.
That's mad.
Yeah, potentially, yeah. I found this a little while ago. I might have found this when
we started,
on the date, yeah.
We stocked up.
Yeah. Police in Spain have put the country's nuns on high alert after a string of AI-based scams targeted several convents. According to reports, at least 15 nunneries in the southern Spanish province of Jaén have been targeted in the last few weeks.
I love that the nuns are on high alert. Like they've got their own little internal system. It's like it's a code red for nuns in Spain.
The scheme involved the use of artificial intelligence to alter the suspect's voice and faces so that they appear to be high-ranking religious leaders asking for money.
It's pretty good.
One alleged con man.
It's a bit like. Do you remember? There was like a Spider-Man No Way Home leak, and it was just like this horrible CGI face of like Tobey Maguire appearing, going, "I'm Spider-Man" for no fucking reason. I bet it's exactly like that. I bet it's like, "I am the bishop. Give me money," and they're like, "Ooh."
One alleged con man is understood to have posed as Sebastian Chico, the Bishop of Jaén, while telephoning several nuns to ask them to transfer €5,000, £4,260 for surgery. They were reportedly successful in scamming around half the amount from a convent in, I am so sorry, Torre don Gimeno.
Man of a thousand dialects there. Keep Britton.
I did GCSE Spanish. The bishop's office in the coastal town of Almeria is reported to have said the fraudsters were using the advanced and controversial technology to achieve almost perfect imitations of voices, and in the case of videos, even the faces and gestures of the impersonated person. One nun is understood to have gotten wise to the scam when a fraudster called to him and introduced himself as the Bishop of Jaén. She said she told the conman caller, "You're not Don Sebastian. Your voice is very hoarse." She went. You were ready for that.
I saw the word horse. I was like, I'm definitely getting a name there.
She went on to explain that the person on the other end of the line replied and said, "Yes, I am. I need the money for an operation on my throat."
Clever.
True. Very clever. Pro vicar of the
These nuts. Pro vicar of
these nuts. Pro vicar of Diocese of Jaén said the fraudsters were looking to take advantage of the goodwill of these nuns, who know that they are very receptive to the bishop, who is their shepherd father.
Well, that's their own fault, isn't it?
These developments in Spain merely add to a growing list of concerns over how criminals may be looking to exploit artificial intelligence in the future. Most recently, Facebook users were targeted with a scam ads that appeared to show Taylor Swift hawking. What? Taylor Swift.
I didn't know she was related to Stephen.
Kitchenware. That's what I was like, wait, what?
Taylor Swift talking.
Taylor Swift using Le Creuset kitchenware.
Wow.
And that is the end of the article. There you go.
Wow.
So nuns are being
scammed.
I hope they're not anymore. I mean, we're like almost a month and a half on from this article, and I hope.
There is just,
I hope.
Yeah, it's taken over. That's mad. That's genuinely quite a scary little story.
I know.
What do you think what would scam you, do you reckon? What would be an AI?
I have been scammed.
By an AI man or woman?
Not an AI man, but I have been scammed.
By whom?
So it was the most unfortunate timing. So my first week of university, bearing in mind.
Oh, wow. Idiot.
I ordered a pop figure from America that took like 6 to 8 months to come.
Wow.
And basically I got a text from the Royal Mail. I mean, text from the Royal Mail, I should say. Saying we have a parcel in like the depot for you. You need to pay the import tax because it's from a foreign country. And I was like, oh, so that's what it is. Went on, put my card details in. I was at Freshers Fair when this was happening, and I realized midway through Freshers Fair that I'd been scammed. And I was at the back end of Freshers Fair, like getting like stuff from the vendors and stuff, and like. Getting food on the out-hand side, cancelling my card, being like, I've been scammed, and on the phone to my bank, being like, what the hell's happened? Luckily, they'd only bought like a Greg's and an Indian and a Chinese or something like that. Like, literally just food, like just takeaway food.
This
on my account.
motherfucker was hungry, let me tell you.
Bro was.
It was like,
Luckily,
I'm going to scam this guy. I'm going to buy loads of fucking tellies and Xboxes and all this tech. But first, I'm going to get a Greg's, a Chinese, and an Indian.
Luckily, I just opened a student bank account, so I had a second card with me. But I would have been absolutely in the mud if I had.
Bloody hell, Donald Trump.
But this is the thing, though. It was lucky because if I hadn't had it and I'd cancelled my Lloyd's card, I literally would have been in the mud because I would have had had to wait like a week and a half to try and get a card.
That's a good scam. That's just a good timing.
Oh, it was such a good. It's the only time I've ever had it, and I'm very good at looking out for them. Yeah. But it was such perfect timing of what it was. It was literally it was the most perfect. Because if that was any other day, and I have had them previously and now. That it wouldn't work, but it just happened to be that I'd waited so long for this parcel that I was like, oh, then this is what it is. Because I expected that to happen anyway.
Bloody hell.
But yeah, that's my scam story. There you go.
I don't know if I've ever been scammed.
Been scammed at this podcast, I'll show you.
Yeah, I was told by some like little, this little, little...
Bro was promised a Spotify deal. I was like, bro, I promise you I've got a Spotify deal waiting.
I've got sponsors waiting up. Prime have said they'll take us on. I don't think I've ever been scammed. I've got no funny stories. I've got no funny stories. No funny stories. Damn. I'm all funnied out today.
At least you go and deliberately get scammed, so you've got a story from Nostalgia Base.
Yeah, that's what I should do. I should make my life more interesting. Or I should just lie.
Yeah.
I should be
more gullible, George.
I'll just be like more comedians, shouldn't I? Where they just go like, "This story really happened." Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I should anyway,
anyway, thank you very much for listening to this episode of Nostalgia Bait. If you've enjoyed, please give us a hearty 5-star review on Spotify or whatever platform. If you're listening on YouTube, leave us a like. It would be really appreciated. 5-star reviews or any reviews really help out. It really helps us push the podcast to a further audience, and we really do appreciate it. And we like to read the reviews. So
we do.
We also have a Google Doc or Google form that you can fill out. That if you have interesting,
the different things, it's mad. I love it.
We have a Google form that you can give us suggestions if there's topics that you want us to talk about in the future, something that we may have forgotten about or not covered, or if you have an interesting story to tell, we could get you on as a guest because we are looking at guests and discussing some potential guest episodes in the future. But make sure you follow us wherever you're listening. Make sure you check out all social medias. Make sure you check out our Instagram and TikTok because not only do you get to see some amazing clips, I also have a new camera now, and you get to see my beautiful face. And I'm going to zoom in to do the rest of this outro. So
oh my God.
This will be on TikTok, so you can see this.
Will it?
What do you mean? Anyway, thank you for listening. Make sure you check out all socials, and we shall see you next week for a potential Marvel episode. We'll see. You never know.
It is. We're about to record it, Cooper.
See you next week.